So, in the history of Canada, we're well known for our turn of the century or 1800, 19th century folk tales. But this guy, I learned about this gentleman bandit when I was 6 years old. He eventually was featured in an NFB short and in a big screen movie where Richard Farnsworth played him. And we were kids, we would play this guy in our backyard games by using his favorite expression, hands up. Of course, we have to be talking about the one person, the gentleman robber, the gentleman bandit, the great Bill Miner. Now, Ezra Allen Miner, born 1847 in Jackson County, Kentucky, was an American bandit who served several prison terms for stagecoach robbery. Known for his unusual politeness while committing robberies, he was nicknamed the Gray Fox, and of course, again, Richard Farnsworth played it at an award-winning Canadian movie in the early 80s, where Farnsworth was shafted for an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Again, according to several published sources, he is reputed to have been the originator of the phrase hands up. The legend has it that Miner admonished his cohorts to fire their guns when in danger of capture, but do not kill a man. Now, born in Jackson County, he never legally changed his first name, but regarded William A. Allen Miner as his true name throughout most of his life. He was arrested for the first time in 1866 in San Joaquin County, California, and served time there. He was shortly released, but served more time at Placard County, California, and later at Calaveras County, California. It was discharged in 1880. He eventually formed a partnership with Bill Leroy as W.A. Morgan to rob a stagecoach. Leroy was caught and lynched, but Miner escaped. He was later caught for another robbery in Tulamon County, California, and was released from St. Quentin in 1901. After his third prison term, Miner moved to Canada, especially BC, where he adopted the pseudonym George Edwards and is believed to have staged BC's first ever train robbery on September 10, 1904, at Silverdale, which is about 35 kilometers east of Vancouver, just west of Mission City. It is often claimed that Miner was a robber, but neither he nor his accomplices were ever tied conclusively to the Silverdale heist, and they are wearing disguises. It is also widely reported that Silverdale's train robbery was the first in Canada, but Peter Grauer's definitive study, interred with their bones in 2005, cites a train robbery in Port Credit, Ontario, 30 years prior as the first, which would be 1884. The Miner was eventually caught after a botched payroll train robbery near Kamloops at Mont Creek, then known as Ducks. Choosing the wrong car, he managed only to rob $15 plus a bottle of kidney pills that Miner picked up off of a shelf. Miner and his two accomplices, Tom Shorty Dunn and Louis Colquhoun, were located near Douglas Lake, BC, after extensive manhunt. A posse surrounded them while they were lurching in the woods and lunching. Miner presented himself as George Edwards and claimed that his cohorts were prospectors. The officer in charge of the posse suspected he had encountered the nefarious train robbing gang and challenged the claim, putting them under arrest. Dunn attempted to fire the police and was shot in the leg. He gave up quickly after being wounded. Colquhoun was disarmed by an officer standing nearby, and Miner never drew his weapon. Miner's arrest and subsequent trial in Kamloops caused a media spectacle. Apparently, the most damning evidence against him was the bottle of kidney pills that Miner had picked up during the Ducks robbery. Upon his conviction, Dunn and Colquhoun were transported by train to a provincial penitentiary in New Westminster. By that time, Miner's celebrity status had risen to the point that the tracks were reputedly lined with throngs of supporters, many of whom expressed satisfaction with the fact that someone had taken a very unpopular Canadian Pacific Railway to task. Now, while serving in the BC pen, he escaped in 1907 and was never recaptured in Canada. He moved back to the States, becoming once again involved in robberies in the South at Gainesville in 1909. There he served more prison term and escaped twice. He died in prison farm at Millersville, Georgia, of gastritis, contracted from drinking brackish water during his previous escape attempt. The kidney pills could have came in handy. Now, Miner's time in BC propelled his celebrity there in many ways. British Columbia's restaurant chain, the Keg Steakhouse and Bar, have named drinks and their Billy Miner pie after the train robber. The early decor also showed many photos of Miner. A mural depicting Miner's robbery near Monte Creek has been painted on the exterior wall of the Cactus Jack Saloon and Dance Hall, located in a building at the corner of 5th Avenue and Lansdowne Street in Kamloops. Now, Maple Ridge, BC features the Billy Miner Pub, which is located in historic Port Haney on the bank of the Fraser River. The pub is located in the original Bank of Montreal building, built in the early 1900s. It has been speculated that Miner left a hidden cache of loot in the forest near and around Green Lake, 70 Mile House, BC, after the first robbery, and local historians believe he used these monies to fund his escape, while others surmise that today there is still hidden loot to be found there. Now, original song called The Battle of Bill Miner was written by singer-songwriter Philip Mills, Eugene Quinn, and recorded by the San Francisco Bay Area band, the Blackout Cowboys. Again, he was the subject of the 82 Canadian film The Grey Fox, which was actually released by Zoetrope, of all people, Francis Ford Coppola's company. It was a box office sensation, won 7 Canadian Screen Awards, and almost got Farnsworth a Best Actor nomination at the Oscars, even though he was nominated at the Globes. Now, Miner is buried in Memorial Hill Cemetery in Milledgeville, Georgia. It was discovered that his headstone was the wrong location, name spelled wrong, and with the wrong year of his death. A new headstone was put in the correct spot and spelled correctly. The old one was kept where it was. Mount Miner near Princeton, formerly Bald Mountain or Baldy, was renamed in Bill Miner's honor response to a motion by the Princeton Board of Trade in 1952. Miner had lived on a ranch owned by Jack Budd, which was on the other side of the mountain from Princeton, while planning the robbery at Ducks. Billy's restaurant in Princeton, BC, is also named after him. Now, the Tin Whistle Brewing Company, a microbrewery from Penticton, launched a red ale titled Hands Up as a commemoration to Miner. Now, his principal biography is The Grey Fox, the true story of Bill Miner, Last of the Old Time Bandits, by Mark Dugan and John Bosennecker, University of Oklahoma Press, 92. Now, in 2014, thieves stole Miner's watch from the Royal BC Museum in Victoria. The watch, along with several others, was recovered by the Victoria Police, and the thieves were arrested by the Port Alberni RCMP. Now, in 2018, Robert Buckley composed The Legend of Billy Miner, scored for concert band, as a commission to mark the 40th anniversary of the Kamloops Interior Summer School of Music. It starts with a ragtime theme, setting the story in its time period, followed by a train robbery and police chase. Then a doleful theme representing Miner languishing in prison, and finally return to the upbeat ragtime, symbolizing his return to life outside prison. Now, in early 2024, a pub called the Notorious Grey Fox Taps and Patio opened in what used to be the penitentiary in New Westminster, where Miner served and escaped. So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. 120-some years later, we're still talking about Bill Miner. And I think he's the greatest Canadian never be born in Canada, because everybody in Canada loves Bill Miner. Richard Farnsworth did such an excellent performance in The Grey Fox. It's almost like the Gone with the Wind of Canada. And it qualifies probably as one of the most important westerns in the great decade of the 1980s, where there was a lot of good underrated westerns. If you watch The Grey Fox for the first time, you can almost imagine Bill Miner doing the same steps like Richard Farnsworth does in the movie. What's really important about that movie as well, a lot of great Canadian actors, the luminous Jackie Burrows, who hit it out of the park in many movies. Sal Sadowski's wife, she was in The Dead Zone playing Christopher Walken's tragic mother. A tremendous movie. Now, Billy Miner, if you can find the NFB short, again, it's quite interesting. You know, we grew up with cartoons from the NFB, and we learned our stories that way. Like, we have something called Heritage Minutes in Canada. I really like to see a miniseries involving Bill Miner with the same themes of The Grey Fox. I think it'd be tremendous, because you got romance, you got, sticking it to the man, and the railway wasn't as popular as a lot of people say, because there were the expropriation, bad use of Chinese laborers and underpaid women and men on the railways, but terrible. So that's the story of Bill Miner, not the movie The Grey Fox, but Bill Miner, but all ties together. If you like what we're doing here, we're our vintage entertainment podcast. Let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.